Alright, so transfer case is out, and be silly not to change some seals and some O-rings, particularly on a shaft in here, which you'll see me do. That's just where they notoriously leak. People think they actually leak out of the bottom, on the bottom plate there, inspection plate, through the threads. They do not leak through there because they're actually all internal to the casting, so but it's actually the culprits behind a shaft O-ring, so we'll go through that. So when taking this nut off here, it's really critical to actually mark where everything belongs, because there's a tube in there that has a preload, and that's the preload for the spinning of the actual, so it's got that tolerance in there. So we're just going to mark the shaft, mark the nut, mark the housing, and also mark the retaining, I suppose, collar, whatever you call it, thingy. And this is just so when we put it back together, line all of them up, and then we'll know that it's pretty close. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be within tolerance. Really important to remember how many revolutions you actually do to take it off, because obviously if you miss out by one out, but it's pretty obvious. Just remember. Okay, so the pesky O-ring lives behind here, and this is the opposite end of the actual shaft that we've taken the nut off, so we should be able to tap him a little bit, not all the way, and we'll be able to inspect the O-ring in there and replace it. So you can pretty well see from there, see how flat it is. It's meant to be rounded O-ring. So we'll take it off and have a closer look. Need one of those dentist tools. Might have to ask one of my dentist friends if they can get a couple for me. Oh, it's very hard. It's definitely not doing its job. So you can see here that it's quite flat on the top, so that's not what you want. So we'll grab a new one. Punch holes there. This one is just a reference point. This one's the obvious one. Lines up. Remember the number of revolutions, the shaft, the nut, and just another obvious one in case I came back to it, you know, later. Something might happen, I'm not here. Got to come back to it, forget where you are. That's why we do these kind of things. So, just need to punch this back down so it's not going to move, because you obviously don't Loctite this or anything. Can do, doesn't really matter, but we're not. So we'll just punch him down best we can, just so he's not going to go anywhere.